Numbers are in, numbers don't lie. Folks, Donald J. Trump hammers it. Saw a beautiful post in Awake Canada, that group, and it's a large group. And there's a specific post there I was tagged in by Angie Wilson. She's American. And of course, it's all the comments. It's some loon going, why does everybody support Donald J. Trump and MAGA and on and on? And you know, this is somebody who's not awake. They're sleeping. And what is beautiful about not the post is about all the amazing comments. Hundreds, literally hundreds of Canadians saying everything that's appropriate and truthful today in your face. It's an amazing post, actually. It really gives me a lot of lift seeing that, and at least there's hundreds out there who get it, who see it. And I'm going to give you some number results today. Canada-US trade, where we're at as of June, which of course all of that which happened in June in the Middle East that temporarily drove up oil prices. The only surplus Canada saw was oil. That's it. And not for extra trade of oil to the United States, because year over year, Alberta, BC, Saskatchewan is down 10% to the United States. Something articulated by Trump, something that's going to increase greatly and going to continue to increase over the next few years if we don't land a new USMCA with certain guarantees and protections. And again, I've gone through that, everybody. It does not look possible today. Those puzzle pieces for Canada, USA will not fit. Not according to USA's laws, not according to USA's Constitution, not according to the USMCA itself. And Canada thinks, well, we've done all these things, they're good enough. Go look at all the deals Donald J. Trump has secured around the world. Middle East is not a major trading partner for Canada. In fact, hardly anything at all, not even measurable. And there's trillions upon trillions of dollars. Donald J. Trump is already up to $17 trillion worth of investment, a large share of that foreign from many, many countries, up to upwards of 50 countries, which Canada only has 11 of those. 11 of them. That's all we have. Any trade pacts and arrangements, treaties, agreements, bilateral. And of those, the bulk of them outside of China, which is a big one, a bulk of those have already signed on with USA, canceling out Canada. But beyond the ones Canada doesn't have, USA has, and the investment is massive. Massive into the American country. Sorry, gotta watch what I say because people run with that. The American country, and for the people of America, and for work and prosperity of the American people. Opposite is of Canada. Now, the June numbers are in. We had less energy export to the United States. How did we make that up? We exported to China for the first time ever in Canadian history at rather large volumes. We've been doing this since January, but that is what's kept Canada afloat up till today. And we'll see if USA lands China. And if they don't, and everybody should hope they do, because it should awaken Canada further, you would hope, because then Canadians are really going to suffer. If not, the scary part is Canada continue on longer, and the move towards China and BRICS becomes that much more without the people of Canada really being tremendously economically impacted. And that's scary. But go look at the June data. Again, we're still 2 months behind. We always will be. That's just the way it is. But being that far behind, but in June, we've lost sizably. In fact, USA's trade deficit with us has been reduced by 70% month over month. It's happening very quickly. And now with these new tariffs, everybody says, oh, it's no big deal. It's only 15% of the economy. 15% of major primary sector that also includes our sovereignty, our security, our energy independence, our military, and many, many other industries. And when you lose that, you're in big trouble, because we don't procure everything inside that industry. These raw resources that come out are for our tertiary goods, and if we can't have those raw resources upgraded and consistently made into second, third, all the way up to tertiary levels, we're screwed. And you're seeing that data. We are very screwed. And I don't see how we're going to get that with anybody else in the world, especially when everybody else of our trading partners in the world, from what you'd call at least close to the free world, isn't going to be investing in us and is going to be very limited on what they trade with us, meaning they're not going to be buying those core primary sector products that makes all of our wealth in this country. Wake up, folks. Donald J. Trump isn't the enemy. All of your government is. And I'm going to finish with this. Mark Carney was with the Conservative Party of Canada all through Stephen Harper. All through Stephen Harper. And then the UK as well to boot. Now magically he's a liberal. This guy has nothing but a track record of globalism and destroying the national security and sovereignty of all nations he's impacted. Look at the damage on UK. I don't get into publishing too much because it should be readily available for everybody. You should know Mark Carney is a Stephen Harper bestie. You should know that Mark Carney was a Boris Johnson bestie. You should know that Boris Johnson is entirely a liberal bestie. And why? Because he's a pure globalist with an agenda from NGOs from the old world order. Highly recognized. He's Lord of the Treasury, literally to the King of England forevermore. If you don't know what that is, American history teaches us that. I'm going to bring that video back. I should probably do that later tonight. I'm going to attempt to do that again because I should be on my way tomorrow. If all goes well, I have a few more things to do, things to get ready for my trip back home. And of course, I'm going through the United States. You're all going to see that. I'm going to hit key areas and do some pretty interesting things that's never been done before. Going into areas, we're going to find out some key things, but I don't want to spoil it yet. I want to make sure I safely get across the border, go through all that, and then I'll roll it out as soon as I'm safe in the United States. We'll roll out the whole for all the public to see, and I'm excited about that. I truly am. So everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. Share this video. There's lots to unpack here. It's truthful. We're in serious economic decline, and those who don't see it or don't acknowledge it, which is entirely your crown and all the media, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. This is really like those beautiful comments in Awake Canada. When you look at all those comments, those people see it, that you're listening to the Canadian media, you're listening to the government. Some, it's too much where they're pointing just at the Liberals and not enough addressment that it's all crown, because it certainly is. And that's what everyone has to understand. It's not a company thing, even though it looks a lot like that. It's a subjugation, old world order thing. Calling something a company and referring to human beings as assets is a nice way of not addressing the fact that these are subjugated human beings. Americans understand this absolutely. It's why they have a powerful constitution. It's why they took the road, the fork in the road they did. We're not siblings. Even though we're all from British North America, we are not siblings. And I have to reinstitute that CJ Fast save my video, but I gotta reinstitute that and re-get that out there for everybody, and I hope people share that, because it shows you when it was British North America. It shows you the father and mother of America, which are not Canadian parents in any way, shape, or form. This is 1630s, United States, British North America, 13 colonies. You, yes, are under the British Empire, who took a fork in the road then. 1635, no to monopoly of force. There's ordinances there that were done in violation of what the French crown decided. And if you don't understand that, these are the 13 colonies with a massive French empire, massive French crown that spanned most of the United States and a lot of Canada, almost all of it, outside of the Hudson Bay Company and that Eastern Canada. That was it. The rest was French, and the French crown, very powerful. And yes, this included Quebec. But then there's the French-British 7-Year War. Those crowns merged. Those 13 colonies had a mother too at the same time and made a decision. Again, these years of American history before it was the United States, it's 100 and then some years before the War of Independence. Upwards of 140 years, those British 13 colonies were already preparing for independence. They didn't just overnight Boston Tea Party, hey, let's arm ourselves and go to it. They were already building that for 140 years. And after the merge of the British and French crown, and then Britain, in that merger, became the father of Canada. This is the Quebec-Ontario merger, the birth of Prime Minister. It was born universally. Prime Minister was born in Canada. What does it mean? It means Lord of the Treasury. And all of these ministers are lords, first lords. And it all has British history merged with the French crown, crafted and created in what would be Canada, the most evil system ever designed in the world. Again, a system that made Nazi Germany, a system that made Africa apartheid, South Africa. Absolutely. Germany, South Africa, Israel, Palestine. Canada predates all of it by a lot. And when we talk about constitutions, the British, for the first time ever, they don't have a codified constitution. Neither does Israel. Canada is the design, is that codification in the highest laws. Look, this is our dual model. This is socialist, fascist inception. And when you look at it, you realize, sure, we share a grandparent, but we don't share mothers and fathers. This France-British system that is Canada, the remainder of British North America, the transition into Canada, USA was long gone from that, long before those two parents were even founded. Again, 1635, and then again in the 1700s, well before the War of Independence. Why did the War of Independence happen? Canada's mother and father, the merged British crown, this is Louis and this is George together, merged crowns, and then they turned around and said monopoly of force will be all-encompassing of British North America. But those 13 colonies had already spent 140 years saying, no, we will never adopt that. We've already created ordinances, the first of what would be constitutions, saying that these British subjects will never be monopoly of force. And in fact, we have ordinances. We've armed ourselves. We've already built militias. We've been developing for over 100 years before the War of Independence, outside of all of British Empire law, outside of all of French Empire law. Those 13 colonies did that. Why? Because they have two very different parents to what would be the United States. And it is in those creations out of the 13 colonies where you get into the War of Independence and why America was already well on their way, ready for the fight, been developing that for a long, long time before 1776. And it's why it only took 9 years for them to begin codifying "We the People" and the Constitution of 1787. Already, many of those 13 colonies had already developed, if not constitutions, like Massachusetts, well before the War of Independence. But they also had ordinances that predate all of it for a long time. Their early constitutions, it would be. And when you look at that, you see it all clearly. These are things that Canadians need to know, and Americans need to know their history. You need to know Canada and USA in relation to each other as an idea. USA is not our big brother. USA is a cousin. That's how much is not held and made available to the general public these days. And when you look at it, it's undeniable. It shows you. And it makes sense, really, when you look at it. You go, yeah, it would explain why Canada was so easily corrupted for so long, because it's the world's first source of it. And it was a master plan by these empires. And it was practiced out in what is now Canada. And USA resisted. Those 13 colonies resisted. They chose different paths. We share a grandparent, nothing more. It makes us cousins. Anyways, that's my video. I'll run that late tonight. I have a lot to do today, a lot to get ready for. Of course, I have my last hockey game, my last coaching session, and I'm going to have some time with those I've been working with for the last 14 months and interacting with. So it's going to be a good time, and then I'll run that video. But please get this shared. There's a lot here, a lot of truth. Our trade deficits are clear. America is cutting down that surplus with Canada big time. Donald J. Trump is tremendously successful. And if they land China, Canada's toast. Canada is toast. That's my video. Bye now.